All right, guys. So welcome. Couple more meetings left this year, guys. Not too many, which is pretty sad if you ask me. But tonight we're going to be going over summer job search strategies for people who are still looking for something over the summer. And then we're also going to do a Kahoot for everybody who's already got summer plans. So I've got like a breakout room set up. Anybody who wants to go on Kahoot and do like a get to know each other with some of the WMA leaders, go over to the breakout session, and then we'll stay here on the main session to cover the summer job search presentation. So announcements today. First one, this Thursday in Advanced Wealth Management, Finance 470, Taylor Schulte and Justin Castelli, who are founders of the AGC, the Advisor Growth Community. So this is like a group of advisors, independent advisors who all kind of lean on each other. And Justin and Taylor are really big into like content marketing and personal branding. So they're coming in to speak to our class on Thursday at 2:40. Invitation is welcome to WMA members. One thing to keep in mind, though, I will say is if you guys do come on Thursday, please have your camera on because these guys are some awesome guests. We like to have as many people with their cameras on as possible. So the registration for that is on our website under the events page, same as signing up for our meetings here. There's a Zoom link. So next one is eBoard and Spartan Journal applications. So those are due tonight, guys, at midnight. So we've had a few people apply. Thank you to all of you who have applied already. We are going to be going over the applications later this week, and I believe interviews for both the Spartan Journal and eBoard are going to be held next Tuesday. So we're not going to have a meeting next Tuesday. Instead, that is when we're going to hold interviews. So yeah, Vincent, Jake, am I missing anything with that?
No, you're good. Yep.
Awesome. Perfect. So next one here, we got a lot of events here to close it out. So instead of a meeting next week, we are on Friday. We actually have an event planned with a couple other student groups from across the Midwest that we met at the Success Summit. So if you guys went to the Student Success Summit back in February, awesome event. There was a ton of different schools with similar programs to ours. We networked with Central Michigan, Eastern, Grand Valley, University of Wisconsin, and Western Michigan. So that's all who's been invited. We've had students from all those different schools show up. This is just going to be like an open networking casual event for all of us to kind of just get to meet each other and expand our LinkedIn network, so to speak. So we're just going to do some breakout rooms. You guys just come, be prepared to meet some awesome financial planning students. So any questions about any of those things before the last announcement here?
Justin, actually, if I can add something really quick.
Absolutely.
So guys, just really quick in case you're not aware, before Justin gives the last announcement, we do have, like you guys probably know, we have the MSU WMA podcast, and we have that available on YouTube. We also have the SJ podcast also available on YouTube. So if you guys don't know about our YouTube, want to check it out, please go ahead and do that. We usually post those out on our Instagram, so be sure to follow us there. And yeah, just for any other information, just go to our website for anything else.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Vincent. I know I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't even realize how powerful and how great YouTube content is. I've been putting it out. So credit to this current Spartan Journal team for making all the awesome content. So it's incredible how much great stuff I find myself watching on there. So last one here, kind of an end one. I moved the stock simulator competition up. So I see some faces on this call who are participating. There's a lot of people in that game, quite frankly, since we opened it up, who don't ever come to meetings. So a requirement to win the competition is to come to our last meeting of the semester, which is April 9th. So we're not going to really publicize that outside of our normal meetings because this competition was obviously always supposed to be for WMA members. So the way it's going to work is on the 9th, we're just going to literally go through the top people from the day before, see who is here, and that is the winner. So anybody have any questions about that? Awesome. Tons of announcements today. So with that, first Spartan Journal Spotlight is actually to our producer, Andrew Long. So Andrew's usually not able to make it to our meetings since he has a class during this time, but Andrew has been a very pivotal part of our team. He's actually been the one producing all YouTube content. So he's been writing some great articles. Great one this week about negotiation skills, which is very applicable beyond wealth management. So I found it a really interesting article. So I know Varun is not here today, so a little bit more from me, guys, because I'm going to be covering Varun's story first for the Spartan Journal. So Amazon. Looks like this week Amazon began to offer on-site COVID vaccinations to their employees. So recently we saw that the U.S. passed the 100 million mark for COVID vaccinations. If you guys actually remember, President Biden made it his mission to pass that mark within his first 100 days. I believe we're close to like 54 days. So he, cut that in half, which is a pretty good number. Amazon workers are actually considered to be frontline. So Amazon is still encouraging its workers to go get the vaccine out on their own if possible. But as the vaccines become more available, they're offering it to their employees in-house. So some workers have expressed some concerns, but Amazon does say if employees get the vaccine, that is the quickest and safest way to get everything back to normal. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Andrew Hendren.
Thanks, Justin. So I'm going to be talking about the WeWork second IPO. So what WeWork is they're a real estate company, and they offer a lot of flexible and modern workspaces for a ton of different companies. And their key differentiator is that companies can rent out these renovated spaces for like as little as a month and as long as they want, really. And they recently agreed to merge with this company called Boex Acquisition Corporation, which is an SPAC, which has them valued at $9 billion, including their debt. And through this merger, WeWork aims to raise $1.3 billion. And ironically enough, this deal comes 2 years after their failed attempt to go public via traditional IPO. And their former CEO, his name was Adam Neumann. He said he would only allow the company to go public if New York Stock Exchange heads agreed to ban certain plastics or meats from their cafeterias. And in the end, they didn't really like that initiative, and it didn't see a lot of support, and their IPO ended up getting scrapped. And when this IPO was canceled, the value of the company went down from $47 billion to $8 billion. And WeWork in general got hit super hard by the pandemic. Since their business model accommodated a lot of workers in small spaces, and it also allowed their leases to be canceled within a month's notice, that didn't really work out too well for them. At the end of 2020, their occupancy of their buildings was only at 46%. And the company lost close to $4 billion in 2020 and then also in 2019. And in turn, they're utilizing this aspect trend to raise money. And they expect their buildings to be 61% full by October and hopefully 70% occupied by the end of the year. And that's all I've got. So I'll pass it to Nick.
Thanks, Andrew. So this week I wrote about the new work week as a result of the pandemic. So a typical week for many people in a non-pandemic work environment consists of them working an average of about 40 hours a week. However, because of the pandemic, research conducted shows that home working employees in countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, and the United States show that workers are actually putting in more hours than before. There are a few explanations for this as to why employees are working longer hours compared to pre-pandemic times. One, employees that are working from home do not have to commute to work, which normally takes up a significant time. And instead of driving back and forth to their workplace, employees can squeeze a little more time and productivity into their days. And on top of that, they're in their own home work environment, which gives them a more comfortable surrounding. And the United States has seen an average of a 32-minute increase for 9 to 6 workers. Most Americans do work about 40 hours a week. However, investment bankers work more than double that even before the pandemic struck. Investment bankers work an average of about 90-hour weeks, which is extremely stressful. And even Goldman Sachs employees mentioned that they have sleep deprivation, mental and physical stress. And as a result of that, Goldman Sachs are allowing their investment bankers to take Saturdays off. So with that being said, I'll pass it to Justin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick. So Now we hear why we're all going into wealth management, not investment banking, right? Huh. All right. Sweet guys. So what I'm going to do now for anybody who missed it at the opening is we're going to do a summer job search strategy presentation for everybody here in the main room. And then I'm also going to open up a breakout room here for anybody who already has something for the summer and just wants to kind of network with WMA members in a Kahoot that Jake has set up for us. So boom, the rooms should be open here. So if you guys want to go play Kahoot, go join the room with Jake. And if you guys want to hang out here with the summer job strategies, just stay here. So we'll give everybody just a second to decide. Alrighty. Jake, and I made you the host, buddy, so you should be able to just go over there. Awesome. There he is. Sweet. Yeah, absolutely, Matt. I'll sign you over there. And if anybody else, shoot us a message in the box if you want me to. Yeah. You're right, Costa. You can't go. Dima. Anybody else wanted to go to the Kahoot, just let us know. Major co-host Costa. So you're in charge of that now.
Dope.
All right, guys. Summer job search strategies. So
Wait, who in here, really quick, who in here is like here for the presentation and who in here is like on eBoard? Because Eli, you're not on eBoard, right? Ethan, Mitchell, Carly, and then is it Subham?
So let's get a thumbs up if you want to see the presentation.
Okay. All right, cool. Just making sure.
Sweet. Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Costa.
Yeah. Just
So, awesome. Let me just get my settings right here because now you guys can see my face. Oh man. Give me one sec. There we go. All right. So summer job search strategy, guys. I just got really granular with this. Want to start from basic building blocks. So what you have to start with is your professional documents, right? You need your resume and you need to have a cover letter if you're applying to most jobs. Most jobs make you write a cover letter. So you need both of these. What is a resume? It's a high-level one-page overview of your experiences. So I actually went through, I work for the Palmer Center. So I went through and made a little 10-minute YouTube video of like resume building 101 of how you should structure your resume. It's on our YouTube page. If you guys want to brush up on that, definitely go check it out. But high-level overview of all your experiences. Us as Broad Spartans, if you're applying for jobs, you want to make sure it's in that Broad format. As somebody now who's been on the recruitment side and worked for the Palmer Center, it's obvious when when their resumes aren't in the Broad template, and hearing from recruiters, when they come to Broad, they're looking to hire Broad Spartans. And if you're not in this resume format, they're just going to assume you're not in the business college, and they're probably going to put your resume aside. So don't mean to start out on a morbid note here, but I just want to make sure that's clear because I'm surprised at the amount of people who don't utilize that resource. So cover letter, like I mentioned, really the big thing about the cover letter is the fact that you want to show interest in the position. So there's a lot of examples for cover letters out there. They're all really good. Those are one of the things you can Google, but the main thing is you want to take bits and pieces from the job description, what they're looking for, and integrate that into your cover letter, into your skill set, and show a company why you're interested. So that is what you start with.
Yeah, really quick, Justin, let me jump in on cover letters. So one thing that you can do is kind of write a generic one and then highlight all the things that are different. So say I'm applying to like Amazon. Okay, so I'm going to write hello, Amazon worker, whatever. I highlight Amazon and then I say I apply to Apple. I just change out all the words that need to be changed out and just making sure that you highlight those so that you don't accidentally put like Amazon in your Apple letter or something like that, something along those lines. And then that way you can kind of work smarter, not harder, and you don't have to write 1,000 cover letters. You only have to write one and just kind of switch it up for each job. So that's what I did. That's a pretty solid strategy. And that's kind of what's recommended.
Justin, if I can add one more thing as well.
Go for it.
Read your cover letter out loud. This is the same thing with emails or cover letters or resumes. Read everything out loud, because like skimming it over in your head, you might think, oh, it sounds good. But once you start reading it out loud, you can like see if there's something like grammatically wrong or if you put the wrong company or anything like that.
Yeah, have another person read it too, send it to your parents or like whatever you got to do to make sure it's all formatted correctly too. No like weird text things or anything like that, or indents where there shouldn't be or anything. So
those are some great points. Kosta, I've never heard the highlighting one. I wish I would have known that. And some of the WMA guys know this. I was telling this, guys, I made the mistake of sending the CEO of a company I spelled his name wrong in an email because I didn't read something out loud. So reading it out loud, you cannot stress it enough. So you have to do that. So great
and
point.
Also don't leave the highlights in too. So make sure that you're going to submit it, you save like multiple versions or whatever you need to do.
Yeah. All right. So I don't see Oscar here, so I'm going to take his slides today. But LinkedIn profile, guys, that's the next one. If you guys are connected with me on LinkedIn, I'm sure you see me all the time. Personally, I made like a pact this year to get active on LinkedIn. I quite literally have calendar reminders in my calendar to show this is the 3 times a week that I need to be sharing on LinkedIn. It's just a really, really important thing to do. So beyond looking at your resume and your cover letter when you apply for a job, the first place employers do is look at your LinkedIn profile. And that's just going to become more and more prominent because we're much more digital now. LinkedIn is professional social media, which is just getting more popular, quite frankly, like it or not. So it's a great platform because when you share content, when you like content, you are showing up in recruiters and people who are looking to hire people's job feeds just organically. So if you like a post, if you comment a post and somebody that you see got a job or something you're interested in, a recruiter might see that. I can't tell you, as I've made myself more visible, I have so many people sending me random LinkedIn messages, connecting here and there. It is an extremely powerful tool, and it makes you visible. That's really the big thing there. So profile basics, you want to have a good picture. So you can see Oscar's got a great picture there. Great headline. That's like an awesome one. So a professional one. I know I have a cityscape on mine. If you guys want to just do something from Michigan State, maybe the Belmont Tower, or even like Spartan Stadium, those are great headlines as well. So contact info, the only other thing I wanted to mention on there is you want to make sure that you have your MSU email address visible, because that's how people get a hold of you. Some employers will shoot you direct messages on LinkedIn, but it's much more common to get an email. So Kosta, Vincent, anything I missed on this one?
No, the professional photo is a little tough. I know usually in normal times, like Broad will do something where they'll have everybody come in and get headshots or whatever. I think as long as you find a picture that makes you look good and you're not like, I don't know, you're looking crazy in it. Maybe you're wearing like a button down or something like that. That works. Mine was like my senior pictures from high school for a long time until I got some professional ones done. But other than that, making sure like your title, you can see Oscar's title underneath his name there, making sure that's all set. If you're just a student and you don't have anything like lined up or whatever, you can definitely just put student at MSU, at MSU, maybe in Eli Broad College of Business like Oscar has. Aside from that, try to get your connections up to 500 plus, because that's pretty dope. And then your contact info too, make sure your email, if you click that link, obviously you can't because it's a presentation, but it pops up with email and a bunch of other stuff like links to websites or something. So make sure that's all set. Just making sure everything's really in line and where it needs to be from top to bottom.
And also something else, Justin, I just remembered, Justin Costa, when you do your LinkedIn, there's this option to, like in LinkedIn, you can share your LinkedIn profile link. Usually people don't edit those, but it makes it look a lot better if you like change out those little numbers and letters that come after it and just clear it out. And it just looks a lot more clean. So there's little stuff like that, I think, really catches the eyes of a recruiter.
Great point, Vincent. And then it also fits better on your resume if you do that. So Awesome. So Vincent, I think this one's you, man. I'm going to pass it back to you. So what should we be posting on LinkedIn?
Yes, sir. So this is an awesome category because I'm really passionate about this because you might see Justin and I and Costa too. Like we post a lot of stuff on here. We post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. We'll post our editorials. I know that we've all posted stuff like that on LinkedIn before. And yeah, Costa just dropped the link of season 2, episode 6 of the podcast with Dan Porta. He's got a lot of really great tips on what recruiters are looking for from their perspective, which is really good. But what you want to post is stuff like your editorials or like job interviews or internship updates. Like when I got my internship, I let my network know that I'm going to be working there for the summer. Or if you get a full-time offer, same deal. Events or conferences attended. This is something. So if you go to like a conference in San Diego or wherever, wherever you go, or something like some event with some significant business, something like that. I'm kind of missing up my words here, but anything like that, you can post on your LinkedIn. Certifications. So Oscar, a couple of days ago, or a little less than a week ago, he posted that he passed his FINRA certification. So that's one example. Academic accomplishments. So if you made the dean's list for 3 consecutive semesters, or if you graduated with honors, those are all things you can put. And then news articles, like I said before, editorials and stuff like that. What's really powerful about this, I'll give you an example. When I posted my editorial about everyday millionaires with Chris Hogan, I got 60 likes on it, but it got viewed 8,000 times. And that's the really powerful thing about LinkedIn, is that these posts are constantly getting recirculated through other people's feed for much longer than a platform like Instagram. So for example, like Instagram, you might see for like maybe 1 to 2 days, someone posts a picture. On LinkedIn, I see posts, and I'm sure other people have also seen posts that have been posted a month ago and they still pop up in their feed. That's what's really powerful about LinkedIn, is that you can post something and it can be on people's feed for literally weeks. So you're going to get a lot of visibility on your posts. You're going to have people who are going to be looking at it that might be interested in connecting with you. So all these things are to expand your network and to just show people what goals you have in mind, what you're working towards, and all that kind of stuff. Kind of a long-winded answer, but this is just a really awesome category to talk about and a really good category to take advantage of. Justin and Kosa, anything to add to that?
No, well said, Vincent. Yep, you covered it. Very well said. Spartan Journal. Actually, here's the last one I'll say, guys. We put out a lot of content in the Spartan Journal. You're more than welcome to share that whenever you want. So,
Shameless plug.
Next one. We talked a lot about LinkedIn, but I do want to touch on Handshake really quickly. So, Handshake, your profile is important on Handshake. I want to start with that one. The way I did it was I used my LinkedIn first. That's the more important one. But Handshake, and recruiters look at that as well. So build out your LinkedIn profile. And as soon as you have those things, your basic building blocks there, your profile picture, some of those basic bullet points, copy and paste those all into Handshake. So Handshake is very similar in the fact that you get exposure to recruiters. Now, you're not getting it the same way by posting and liking things, but I'm sure you guys have seen all those millions of messages that you get from recruiters. Those actually do matter. Now, you have to sift through them, I will say, especially if you're going to be in financial planning and wealth management. One's not going to just come walking along, but a lot of recruiters put their jobs on Handshake and might not advertise it. So you might not get a message from them directly. But I know when I got my internship and full-time job, I had to recruit through Handshake. So I'm sure a lot of you guys know this already, but I do want to stress that it is really important. And here's another thing I've learned working through the Palmer Center. Recruiters and people like myself, and Vincent's actually going to be working for the Palmer Center. So you guys, utilize him next year. They can see how many times you've logged into Handshake and how many times you've viewed their job posting. So that matters. They're going to see if you've only viewed it once and you've only logged into Handshake twice in the 4 years you've been at MSU, that you're probably not as passionate as you are. So that's why I wanted to cover Handshake, because that one's a lot more specific to MSU. And that's like a way recruiters can peek behind the scenes. So excuse me.
Yeah, Justin, really quick, let me jump in on Handshake really. So the thing with Handshake is that they, like Justin said, they have a really good relationship with MSU and recruiters. So they run all of the career fairs through there. So all of the employers will be posted who's coming to the career fair. And what you can do with that is you can kind of go through and scout out employers. So you can go through, look at their website, look at maybe any MSU kids that work there or previous MSU kids that work there, any postings that they have or what they're actively recruiting for, everything like that. So you can kind of do research on companies that you might want to work for on Handshake rather than LinkedIn, because LinkedIn's a little sketchy with that, but that's really where Handshake flourishes.
Yep, exactly. Thank you, Costa. Yeah, LinkedIn's kind of like a 1 in 100, one in 100 shot versus Handshake's like a 99 in 100 because they're posting it for MSU students. So yeah, we kind of touched on a lot of this here, guys. So I'll just blow through the slides real quick. Handshake is where I would start. That's where I got my job. That's where most people I know get their jobs through. But I have definitely heard of from people who got them on LinkedIn as well. Just be aware that LinkedIn, they're not specifically looking for Spartans. I've got a little anecdote here. And Vincent, actually, I don't know if you knew this, but Jake Lyle, who's a freshman who comes to our meetings every once in a while, he found a job on LinkedIn. And he found a job on LinkedIn by seeing a list of like 100 up and coming advisors that Financial Times put on. It was just some random list that they put on, and he emailed every single person on that list, and one person responded. One person. And him as a freshman got a job working for this one person on this list because he went and he hit it hard and he saw it on LinkedIn, applied for it on LinkedIn. So that I'll be honest with you guys, that's rare, but it happens. If you guys are really gung-ho and you want to go out there, LinkedIn is also a place where you can find it. The last caveat I'll say is once you guys get in the professional world and Handshake is not available, LinkedIn is going to be your go-to. So that's why you want to maybe start to get your feet wet in that, so to speak. So last one here, last bullet point is, pandemic is made for a lot more just-in-time hiring, guys. So keep your eyes on the Handshake, keep your eyes on LinkedIn. As us, especially in Michigan, are reopening right now, a lot of employers are realizing that they need help and they didn't realize they could take an intern on, and they are. So a lot of people are still getting jobs. This year is not a normal year. So just keep your hopes up and keep looking at those job postings because they are out there, no matter what your friends say. I still see people getting jobs. So
yeah, Justin, something else I want to add to this as well for looking for jobs. When you're finding a job, don't just be set about the companies that you want to apply for. So for example, I was applying for internships this June, and what I wanted to do, I knew I wanted to do something with marketing. I knew I wanted to do something to kind of build and develop my skills more with marketing and stuff like that, because I'm a marketing major, if you guys don't know. So I found a bunch of internships. What's really important to do too is make sure you research the company before you apply to them, because you don't want to just apply to a company not knowing who they are, because if you get an interview and you don't know who they are, that looks really bad. So make sure you interview the company first, and then just be open to what companies have to offer. Because if they have all the things that you're looking for, just go for it. You never know what you're gonna find. And that's how I got my summer internship that I'm actually still doing to this day. So just don't be set in stone about certain opportunities. Be open to any and all opportunities.
well said, Vincent. Awesome. So I know we have a lot of slides. I'm talking a lot here, guys. And I promise this wasn't the original plan. Next one here, I'm going to take again, and that's the FPA virtual externship. So Oscar's actually the man to talk about this. If you guys haven't already, this is something he did last year. We had him on the podcast. If somebody wants to drop that link in for us, and he did a great job explaining all the value in there. So I don't want to speak too much about this out of turn beyond the fact that it's extremely valuable. Oscar did this as somebody who didn't have a finance internship, did it last summer, and then got an incredible program with Raymond James, which I don't believe they actually were even recruiting an MSU for. And he was able to do this. So right now it's free to students. It's an 8-week program that acts like an internship. And if you guys are looking for something over the summer and you don't have an internship, definitely check out this externship. So,
and guys, I just dropped Oscar's LinkedIn down below if you want to connect with him and ask more information about that.
sweet.
Was that season 1 or season 2?
It was season 2. I think it was 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Thank you, Costa. I appreciate it.
Yep.
So some other experiences too, which Oscar, the SIE is the top one you'll hear about in the podcast, and that's the SIE and securities license. So I know that Oscar is not the only one. Actually, let me see here. Matt Mancini, I don't mean to put you on the spot, man, but do you have anything you maybe want to say about your experience with the SIE and how it helped you out at all?
Yeah, the SIE was actually, I took it this past summer for my internship, and it wasn't too hard. I mean, it was just a lot of information. It was a lot of content. But I would say look at STC, Securities Training Corporation, I think. And then there was a bunch of books and stuff. There's a lot of practice exams. Just like the biggest thing that I kind of like messed up on was I tried to study all the content first, and then I took a bunch of practice exams, which like seems like logical, but I would just say take a bunch of practice exams and then just learn from your mistake. And then that pretty much just teaches you.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, the SIE and all these other securities license, they really put your resume like at the top. No people have these, and the SIE is actually a brand new thing. I think FINRA started offering it in 2018. So it really sets you apart. And that's even beyond Broad Spartans. That's people, other from other schools that you would be competing against. So Vincent, I don't know, are there any here you want to take a couple on here or?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, kind of like what I alluded to. So just really being open to opportunities that you think might be a good fit. Again, like just go for it. Like other experiences are really good to help build your network and to help build up your experience. They might not be paid, but again, like you're doing it for the experience. Like we're in college right now for first place to get the experience and the knowledge that we need to use toward our professional career. So, and again, the Broad College of Business offers a lot of opportunities when it comes to this stuff. So just be like pay attention to what they got going on. And I think the research opportunities is a really big one. Justin, I think you might know more about the research opportunities at Broad, but I know there are a lot of professors who are always actively looking for students to help them with research. So just keep an eye on that. And yeah, that's all I got to say to that.
Thank you, Vincent.
Really quick, let me jump in. I'm going to put it in the chat after I get done talking, but if you're interested specifically in financial planning or anything to do with wealth management or really anything to do with finance, I would recommend reaching out to Steve Schiestel. He's the faculty advisor for WMA, and he runs the CFP program in Broad. He's a professor, but he also really wants everybody to get a job. So that's kind of like, if that's not his second, or if that's not his 1A job, that's his second job. And he's really excited about getting MSU kids out into the finance world and especially the wealth management world. And he'll do a lot for you. I know Hendren's probably told the story 1,000 times, but he was a direct beneficiary of that. And he got a job basically just by reaching out to Schiestel. I'm not going to steal his thunder or anything, but yeah, he's a great resource too. So we listed a bunch here, but he might be one of the most personable in terms of like reaching out for things that you want to go for. So I'll put his email in the chat, and then I'll put his LinkedIn too. But yeah, feel free to reach out to him too. Just explain your situation. Don't kind of, inbox bomb him or anything like that with just like, hey, can I have a job? But just explain what you want, and he'll probably do his best to help you out.
Yeah, that's great, Costa. And yeah, that's his mission, is to help every single person. So be friendly. He'll be friendly back. So I want to blow through these real quick because these are actually important. Leadership conference. So freshmen, sophomores, even juniors out there. This is something I did before I could land an internship. I know Plant Moran straight up told me, we're not going to hire you as a sophomore, but go to our one-day leadership conference. I went to it, got an internship from there. So we have a link in our Google Drive to a bunch of big companies that do leadership conferences, and they're still doing them online. And again, quite frankly, they're probably a little bit easier to get into online because you just have to log to a Zoom call. When I went to mine, I had to drive all the way to like Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. So definitely check out leadership conferences. Also, Broad micro internships. This is something that's on Handshake. This is essentially all these different Spartan alumni who know in the virtual environment our internships have been canceled, and they're offering micro internships for experience. They are paid. They're not the whole entire summer, but they are great because, you know, it doesn't need to be the whole summer to take up a big part of your resume. So they're paid, they're great, and they're on Handshake. Adventus financial modeling, not exactly applicable to financial planning, but financial modeling skills are great if you're in the world of finance, period. That's something that you guys can also do. And then research opportunities. So that's where you get in contact with your professors and ask them if they need any help. That's really the way you do it, guys, is you reach out to your professor. I know I'm doing research for Professor Schuster right now, but it was quite literally just because I went to him and said, hey, do you need some help? And he said, yeah, help me do this. So that's how you get those kind of opportunities.
Yeah, Justin, about the Adventus boot camp, I actually did that my freshman year, second semester, just at the suggestion of one of the people I was talking to who was a little bit older than me. It is great for, like, if you want to do more investment research things or modeling, or maybe like if you're leaning towards like investment banking or private equity. But it also is really good for Excel skills. Like, I kind of came out of there and felt like I could kind of tackle any problem in Excel. Made me a lot more efficient in Excel. But although I didn't get the certification or anything, and I'm probably not going to go into that career path at least right away, it does help you with other things too. So it's a little pricey, but if you have the resources and the time, I would highly recommend it. And I believe they do it all online now, so you don't even have to go in, which is what I had to do. So yeah, I highly recommend that, even if you're not gonna go that route.
It's a great thing to talk about it in an interview, even like Costa said, even if you're not going in that route. So we spent a lot of time on that slide. This one is very important as well, guys. So using your network and making sure you send a follow-up. So sending a thank you email is the most important thing. I can't stress that enough, guys. If you are not following up, sending a thank you email, you're not going to get the job. I'll shoot you all straight. Like that matters. And the faster you do it, the better. I alluded to being interested. Every single job that you go to, whether it's in financial planning or outside of the world of business, if you're not excited to be there, if you're not showing interest in the employer, they're not going to want to hire you. A job interview, what it comes to at the end of the day is, can I work with this person full time? It's not you, especially as a student, trying to figure out if you have a bunch of different skills. It's, can this person learn? Is this person going to be a good employee at my firm? So I think sending a thank you email is something that gets overlooked sometimes, but it is so powerful. I had my chance to interview people for the first time, and I noticed the people who didn't send me a thank you email. That's very obvious to recruiters as well. So other one here on this slide is using your network. So we've been talking about that a lot, guys, but Spartans help Spartans. Like I've been amazed. Like some of you guys know, I took time off. I'm still amazed at how much the Spartan network runs deep. Like out in the professional world, as soon as somebody hears that you graduated from Michigan State, they're like, how can I help you? So using LinkedIn, looking for those resources at people who work, Spartan alumni who work at the companies you're applying for, reaching out to them saying, hey, do you have a minute to talk about this position? I'm interested in your company. I just applied. Can you tell me a little more? That is so important. So this statistic on here, it's like today, some estimates suggest 70% of all jobs are not published. And research shows that anywhere from half of upwards to 80% of all jobs are filled through networking. So think about that. Most jobs aren't on Handshake. Most jobs aren't on LinkedIn. These are great resources. Definitely look on them. But like just hearing that, you guys, like there's so many opportunities that come around through your own personal networks that are just incredible. So awesome. So here's another one, guys, and I'm not going to put everybody on the spot and make them turn their camera on now. But when you guys are in professional events with professionals, you guys need to turn your camera on. Our brains are not hardwired to remember a name on a black box. When you're in a room with a bunch of people with a bunch of names in a black box, a recruiter is never going to remember that, even if you said something or had some kind of verbal connection. So turning your camera on in these experiences, guys, is so imperative. I can't stress that enough. Clean background, guys. Make sure that your bedroom's fine. You can have you don't need to have the Mona Lisa or something back there, but just make sure it's not super messy. Make your bed. recruiters notice that, like people notice that this isn't Zoom class. If you're in an interview, make sure it looks nice and clean back there. And if you guys are sitting in a place and you know that it might not look ideal, Zoom backgrounds are fine. I know like some professors might have mixed ideas. In the professional world, Zoom backgrounds are absolutely fine. That's what people do. So act interested, guys. I've been saying this a lot, but that is the most important part of the job search. Is when you're at the interview, you're going to be nervous, but you have to be interested and excited to be there, because that's what people are going to remember. They don't want to work with somebody who's not excited and doesn't seem interested. So Zoom fatigue is so real, guys. It's so real. This has been the worst. I'll be the first person to tell you that. I hate this virtual environment. I know some people do. That's my personal opinion, but don't let Zoom fatigue, being in class, get you, cost you a job at this point. Like, we're facing a lot of adversity. The world is against us right now, so to speak, but you guys don't let that cost you an awesome job. So when you're in, a meeting with a wealth management professional, with a financial planner, make sure that you have your camera on. Like, this is a people business. People remember faces. That's what they remember. So make sure to do that. So that's the last one for me. I know I did a lot of the talking here today, but Vincent, I think I'm going to pass it over to you, man, for the final slide.
Yes, sir. So yeah, again, guys, I can't stress this enough. I mean, like, just do something. It's not very it's pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, like I kind of alluded to before, going to internship events, doing externships, applying to internships, doing whatever you got to do, research opportunities, like doing whatever you got to do to excel professionally and develop those skills that you need for your career. It's paramount. It's what's going to help you to be the best professional that you can be. So, and again, like the last one, be active on LinkedIn. Justin, like you said, I mean, like you're going to be using LinkedIn for the rest of your life. You're not going to have Handshake for the rest of your life. You might, but like LinkedIn's going to be your go-to. So like really connecting with your network, and just just using your network as much as you possibly can. It's just really, really important, and it's really good stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's all I got.
Awesome. Thanks, Vincent. Yeah. One slide I do want to say here is, working for a professor, guys, if you were a TA, if you helped your professor on a side project, or you helped your family member in some kind of professional capacity, that counts. That counts as experience. So make sure you're putting that on your resume. Some people like, oh, I worked for my uncle's, office and did paperwork. That counts, guys. It's better to have something like that in your resume than a giant gap over the summer. So that was a lot of information, guys. That is the end of the slide deck. Thank you all. Anybody have any questions? How'd the Kahoot go, Jake?
It went well. Met a lot of new faces. So next week though, we have a meeting on Friday, correct? Or how is next week's working?
So next week we do not have a meeting on Tuesday. We're gonna have like the Spartan Journal e-board, the interviews, everything for next Tuesday, and then next Friday is like that Midwest student meetup where we're meeting with all the different schools. So that's open to everybody. Yeah, that's next Friday.
Awesome. Yeah, what I got from the Kahoot though was definitely in for hayride, definitely in for tailgating, a couple. Guest speakers, that was like the main one for events next year, but then also case studies and informative Q&As, just some stuff like just tidying up on a couple of things for next year for event planning and that stuff.
For sure. Awesome. Sweet, guys. Well, thank you all. I'm going to hang back if anybody has any individual questions about the job search. What I'll leave it on is, guys, we're all here as a resource. This has been a wacky year, but reach out to us. We have a lot of awesome seniors who want to help. We've got a lot of awesome juniors who want to help. So if you guys need anything, we're here. So
I couldn't emphasize that enough.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.